through a partner?
I didn't. I was going to lose it come January 3rd, but I luckily did have it throughout then. But
You did, but you would have lost it come
Correct.
January 3rd. Luckily, you got your
Correct.
job back in that time.
Yep.
So that's what the Trump administration, that it sounds like to me, could really address for you is, one, student loan debt could maybe forgive Americans for trying to go and get an education and make themselves, more employable in the workforce to contribute economically to this country. Could just make education free at the outset.
Yeah.
That's aside the point. And then secondly, make Americans not be dependent on their employer for access to health care.
Yeah.
Not make life or death dependent on the status of their employment, which is tenuous at best in the state of this economy. But instead, the administration is sending billions upon billions of dollars to ICE, making it better funded than many countries' militaries, and deploying that paramilitary force against Americans.
Yep.
Sydney, anything else that you would want to add while you had the platform?
Oh my God. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Fuck ICE. Fuck Donald Trump. I miss you, Obama.
Thank you very much, Sydney. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time. So you get a sense there for some of the righteous anger that we have felt from this crowd. And there's more coming from the speakers off the back of this truck here, because I'll note that the march did, in fact, stop here at the intersection of Chicago and Lake Street. And right now, it's just chants of who keeps us safe, we keep us safe. And that was very much on demonstration here tonight, that who keeps us safe, we keep us safe mentality very much on display here, where it is members of the crowd directing traffic, protecting people here in the crowd during this march. We're walking back here into the crowd, give you a sense of the more than 1,000 people. We had, right at the outset of the march, we had heard that it was around 1,500 from organizers that they estimated the size of this crowd to be, but that seemed to be very much a guesstimate, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is more than that now. Just looking around from what I'm able to see from my vantage point here closer to the ground, John has lifted the camera up into the air, so you probably get more of a sense, but you definitely feel here being in the crowd. I'm not sure if it comes through across the camera and the microphone, but the sense of community here among all of these people. And they're asking to make space here, John. I think they might be trying to move the truck again. Yep. It looks like they are pulling the truck back towards this parking lot where they had originally started. Chants of whose streets, our streets, whose city, our city, which is a sentiment that they have echoed here across the night. The intent of people to occupy the streets, occupy metro transit points, occupy places where ICE has been active to try and keep their friends and neighbors active, or protected rather, safe.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here. Justice, no peace.
Well, it looks like the march now is continuing down Lake Street in the opposite direction from which it originally set it out.
No justice.
And the demonstration will continue.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Would you mind if I interviewed you about why you wanted to be out here tonight?
Yeah, sure.
No justice, no peace.
Status quo.
No justice, no peace.
Yeah.
No justice.
What's your name?
My name's Jose.
Jose, nice to meet you, JT. This is my cameraman, John. All right, I'm standing here with Jose as we make our way down Lake Street here in the south side of Minneapolis as this march against the murder of Nicole Good continues. Jose, why did you want to be out here tonight?
I think it's essential that we all stand together to say that this is unacceptable. These movements of fascism can only be countered by movements of resistance, by movements of progress, and I think it's essential that we all stand together. Capitalism and colonialism, all these forces are meant to divide us, and they can only be countered with unity. If I have your back and you have mine, so as long as there are people out here rocking with me, I'm rocking with them.
I want to center on that word fascism that you led your answer off with. Fascism, I think we can pretty definitively say this is beyond a debate at this point. We are seeing a real fascistic movement here in the United States in terms of what its government is doing when you start to talk about it murdering Americans like happened here in Minneapolis. I want to ask you, do you see a way to come back from the pain that is being inflicted on this country right now? And if so, what's the way out?
Well, I think that this country has always been in tremendous pain, and in this moment that feels like it's so deep with despair, we are actually coming to a point where we're recognizing each other's struggles, and I think that's the first step. The first step is to recognize that all of our fates are tied together and truly try and form unity. I feel like in the 1960s, like they did tremendous damages to movements for justice by assassinating our leaders, and I think we need to reform these movements in a way that is more decentralized, more community-focused, and more that recognizes the dignity of each and every member. And when we form organizations that have that structure and then reflect it in the society that we want to build, I think that'll, inevitably end in progress. But, in whether we succeed or whether we don't, there is value in just being out here, living with our morals, standing up for ourselves, and doing the right thing just to do the right fucking thing.
Do the right thing for the sake of doing the right fucking thing. I think that's a very powerful message to deliver to people right now. I want to try and convey a sense of power that this crowd is feeling right now. It's always something that I don't think really comes across well unless you are physically standing in these protests. But try to describe for people the emotions that people here in this crowd are feeling right now, the emotions that you're feeling in this moment.
I think that there's tremendous pain, I think there's tremendous anger, and I think there's also some solace to know that we are not alone in this. You out there that think that you're alone in this, you're out there suffering from the yoke of oppression of ICE, from the yoke of oppression of your shitty job, from the yoke of oppression of being able to afford food, from all that shit that's holding you down. We are all in this together, and when we recognize that we are in this together, then, there's so much tremendous power in that. Individually, we feel alone. Individually, we feel isolated. Human beings are like that. We are meant to be in community, and again, if you're rocking with me, I'm rocking with you.
When you saw the video of Renee Good being murdered, what were your first reactions?
I mean, shock, sadness, despair, and as a Latino American, she was out there, protecting my rights. She was out there protecting the rights of my community. How can I not show up for her now?
But now we're seeing a pattern, because tonight we've just gotten word that Border Patrol agents shot 2 people. It sounds like the most recent indication we've gotten is that these people will survive, thank God, or at least are still alive right now. But when you hear that 2 more people have been shot in another city in this country, what's your reaction as this becomes a pattern that we've seen in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in Portland?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. I'm really extraordinarily disheartened. That hits me pretty hard to hear that happened. But this is a pattern that's been continued. It happened at Wounded Knee. It happened at Haymarket Square. It happened at the MOVE bombing. It happened all over the country. It's going to keep happening until we say enough, and that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing right here, saying enough.
Saying enough and drawing a connection to movements for liberation going back more than a century in this country. Jose, the president has tried to say that his immigration agenda here is all about making America safe. I think that is pretty much demonstrably bullshit when people are being shot by the agents who are supposed to be keeping them safe. But what could this administration do to address the actual problems in your life that you're facing right now, or your family is facing, or your friends are facing? If it wanted to, what could the federal government do to help you?
The federal government? They could all resign and get their asses in jail where they belong. Fuck those guys.
So then let's talk about justice then. Obviously, you're talking about people resigning, facing prison time. What does justice for Minneapolis, for Renee Nicole Good, to your eyes, look like? What do you need to see to feel like your community is being, that is receiving justice in some way?
I think that it's paramount to center the requests and the beliefs of the family in terms of what they want to see. So it's not my job to speak, but I think, universally, to feel safe, we need to get ICE off our streets. ICE as an organization needs to be disbanded. I think we need to see a complete reframing of how we do this, criminal justice and immigration reform. And until we get that, I'm not going to be happy. Until they get that for not just the Latino community, not just for people who are like me, but everybody.
Jose, anything else that you would want to add? Anything that I wouldn't know to ask about or tease out about your personal experience that you think would be important to talk about while you had the platform?
Just to everyone who's out here fighting for the rights of the Latino community, I want to say thank you, and I want you to know that I'm going to be showing up for y'all as well. We are in this together. And to all of my family out there, que no te falta la esperanza. Siempre han sido tiempos negros para nuestra comunidad, pero siempre hemos encontrado la forma de superar. Estamos aquí, siempre estamos aquí, y esta administración no nos puede quitar esto. Estamos juntos, siga luchando.
Jose, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll let you get back to your protest that you came here to participate in. Thank you, man. You hear that passion. You can hear it now in the voice of everybody chanting right now. Say it loud, say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here. Immigrants are welcome here.
Can I interview you about your sign, man? Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Walter.
Sorry?
My name is Walter.
Walter. It's common spelling?
Yes.
Walter, can you explain the sign that you're carrying? Read it out and explain it.
The administration is unpopular. They're attacking working people and they're oppressing our communities. I believe that's a problem of the unions, which needs to be considered, and the unions as a whole should come out on strike. The urban centers are very sympathetic to these communities.
That sentiment of wanting to see a national strike. We were reporting on the ground for months during the immigration crackdown in Chicago. Now we've been here for more than a month. That is something I'm hearing more and more people bring up, is the desire to see a national general strike. What do you believe a national general strike should aim to achieve?
It should aim to bring down the administration. It needs to be kicked out and ICE needs to be abolished. But there's another question. What's to replace the administration? We have the neighborhood communities, we have the unions. A new mass party needs to be formed based on these communities to represent our interests.
I assume because you're saying the Democratic Party is proving to be an insufficient opposition party in this moment?
Exactly. They failed to solve the problems of the working class. They did the last 4 years, the presidency before that, and now what are they doing? Not a whole lot. They act like the opposition, but what's really needed are national strikes. When the question of national strikes come to the fore to actually bring down the administration, the Democrats, that won't be for it, they'll be against it. The working class needs to move on its own.
Do you live here in Minneapolis, a surrounding community?
I do, but I prefer not to say which.
Sure, fair enough. But still goes to the point really that I was just going to make, is when you see one of your neighbors be murdered by a federal immigration agent, what were your initial reactions seeing the video?
I was incredibly indignant. I did not sleep last night.
Could not sleep. You were so angry, I assume?
Yes, I was incredibly angry, and I started reflecting on the situation of the past year, started making this lovely sign, thinking about what the working class needed. I think it's mass movement, national strikes, a new party to represent our interests.
New party to represent your interests. I also want to address the fact that Renee is not the only person that has been shot and even killed by federal immigration agents. We're getting word that just tonight that 2 more people were shot in Portland, Oregon. When you hear and see this demonstrable pattern of people being shot, in some cases killed, in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in Portland, in other cities, what is your reaction? What is your assessment of this system that the president says this immigration agenda that the president is claiming is meant to make and keep people safe?
I think that the immigration agenda, the Republicans are trying to pretend that it benefits the working class. But all it's resulted is in shootings like these. And does repressing immigrants actually solve our problems? Does it solve inflation, household debt, the credit crisis, student debt crisis, housing? It does not.
I've been picking up on your accent here during our conversation. Are you yourself an immigrant, and do you feel at all in danger of being targeted by ICE or other immigration enforcement agents?
Let's just say I'm the most radical American there is.
Most radical American there is.
I don't know.